Everybody, welcome to episode number 42 of the Final Circle podcast. My name is Ray, aka Blitz5, and the podcast is co-hosted by one of my best buddies. His name is Andrew, aka Cypher5. And we created this podcast to talk casually about gaming and PubG, which is a game that has kind of captivated our attention for such a long time. I mean, we first started playing this game at night for fun, and then it eventually turned into me now streaming this game full time, creating YouTube content, and really kind of launching my own business. So huge fan of PUBG. We both play on console, but we both actually own the game on PC. We both built PCs in the last year so we could do some more stuff on PC and play the game on there. So we're slowly but surely learning, but we don't have the mouse and keyboard skills, so we mostly end up staying on console. But I was able to check out the most recent PUBG update, that's 7.3. So that's one of the topics in today's video or podcast. And then we also talked about PUBG Ranked, a lot of the recent updates and future updates coming to PUBG, so kind of the current state of the game. And then also just, like I said, some other video game news. We actually recorded this before the PS5 reveal, so that's not going to be in here, but I think we did briefly touch upon that. And then I also tried Valorant the other day, so I talked about that at the very end of the podcast. So without rambling on too much longer, let's get right into the episode. All right, yeah, so this is our first podcast with my new setup. I actually recorded one with this microphone, but I didn't have everything set up all the way. So welcome to episode number 42 and your first episode in your new apartment.
Yeah, first day not first day, first episode, yes.
Fantastic, man. How long have you been in there for? Like 2-3 weeks now?
It's almost a month. It'll be a month, the 15th, I guess. So like 30 days would be, it's been 4 weeks almost.
Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, that is crazy.
Flies.
Time does fly, man. And everything's going okay with the internet so far, or what do you think?
Internet's okay. I'd still debate going to Verizon. But it's been fine. I haven't had any issues. And everything hardwired is fine. Every now and then I have to like turn my Wi-Fi off on my cell phone and turn it back on. But other than that, the hardwire stuff has been perfectly fine. No gaming issues, no work issues. So it's like, is it really worth switching at this point? I don't know. We'll see. I still have the appointment. They haven't called me or anything. So I was like, I figure when they call to do that, I'll cancel if you know what I mean?
If you're happy with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, you know what's weird is occasionally I've been getting messages only over the past like 6 months where like I'll get a message randomly on my phone, maybe a couple times a week, or maybe even just like once a week that says like, my phone is having trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi. Do you want to keep attempting or like turn it off? And I just say keep attempting and nothing happens. But it's weird because my connection's like really good here. But I don't know, maybe it's just occasionally like it dips out for a second or something. I don't know on the Wi-Fi. I'm hardwired everywhere. My Xbox is hardwired. My PC is, so I usually don't have any issues.
I got a switch for my room, so I ran a hardwire from the router through the wall to the room, and I have a switch for the Xbox and the PC because I don't even have a Wi-Fi card for my desktop.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. I don't even know if I have one either because I remember that was a thing I might, but I might not when I built the PC.
Yeah, I don't have Bluetooth. I bought like a Bluetooth adapter for it, which for just like listening to music or YouTube instead of having a wire.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it works. Honestly, I don't know why I bought it. I'm
You know, dude, you know what's crazy? I was just thinking about it, that we built your PC like last year around like February, March, right? Or February, March, April?
Yeah, I think my PC's probably was almost January. I think the PC is now, it's probably about 1.5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like crazy. Yeah,
so Andrew built his computer and that half inspired me. I was obviously like been streaming a lot a year ago. I was streaming full time and my computer was heading into the grave, I guess. And so, but you inspired me kind of to want to build it myself because you did it. I came over to Andrew's house and we built it. Andrew did most of it, but I watched and helped here and there. And then 6 months later, I did mine in July. So then mine's almost 1 year old next month, which is crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're going to need a new one in 1 year. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, should I just build a whole new one next year?
It was a really fun experience, man. And you have any issues? Mine's been working great. I have like no issues. Like
mine's working clean. I haven't had a single issue with this computer. I don't even have a full version of Windows on my computer.
You never upgraded to it, huh?
No.
Oh wow, I did like right away. I think I
should.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it if I'm.
If you're fine, yeah.
I definitely don't have all the things. I can't change my background, but it's like something I never really noticed until I go to change my background.
I really don't care about my background anymore. I realized that when I left Seton Hall and we had Seton Hall laptops. For anybody listening, Andrew and I went to the same university and they gave us a laptop. It was kind of a thing, like
Yeah.
you paid for it, you know, with your tuition, but to make sure everybody had the same equipment, which is fair, right? I like that idea. Like, you know, everyone's
Yeah.
has to have a laptop to do their work and stuff. It had like the Scene Hall desktop background, and like I never changed it. And I think you could change it. And I just like,
Yeah.
I don't care about that at all, my background. And I kept it for like years after.
Mine's somehow, it was like the Microsoft background. Now it's the MSI like background. So I don't really hate it that much anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't care. Every now and then it's annoying because if I have like Twitch open, right? And I have a full screen on my right computer, it says like activate Windows or go to settings thing on the bottom.
I see.
Right
that pops
corner.
a little notification. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's annoying. Because it's not a notification, it's just like an overlay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I put, like, a proof on
yes.
photos,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so like it's over the chat box, so like it overlays like the chat box, like where I'm typing.
Wow.
If I have a full screen.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that bothers me. Where I'm like,
that's kind of lame.
It's honest.
Other than
it's
that,
not worth paying $100 for this.
just for that, just to fix that one problem, the one overlay.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I just literally make it a little bit less than the full screen, and it's been fine.
I see.
And yeah, otherwise, dude, this computer's been great. You know, there's honestly no reason to build another one right now, but
no,
eventually.
Eventually. I mean, yeah, I guess years from now, or if you just want to work on something or a project or help a friend, I mean, something like that, possibly. But
yeah,
I feel like it's still solid, right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, if it hasn't had an issue, there's no reason to, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But I think it's more eventually I'll just be like, oh, I want something, the newest stuff.
Yeah, I actually went into my PC and I got a new Elgato capture card, and I put it into my PC, and man, this thing is, I can't believe, dude, how much like things have changed. Because, you know, when I started streaming, well, you know, people don't know, I've been streaming and doing video stuff for like ever. I was, you know, people asking in the chat, like, how long have you been streaming? I'm like, well, dude, realistically, you know, for only like a year and a half, like full time. But like when I've been messing around with this stuff. I had a capture card back when I was 15 on like the old school Xbox, like, and we would capture like Halo 2 gameplay. But all the stuff that I was currently using until just like a month or two ago, until the pandemic, was stuff that I had collected over like 10 years. So I had some like really outdated equipment and stuff like that, and like wires and things. And this new Elgato software is like, I had probably my capture card for like 7 years, maybe 6, 7 years. And maybe even 8. I don't know. It was a long ass time because I got that right after college. I think I had that capture card. So the new technology is so much better. And this one you can install right into your PC, and then it's in there. And then you hook your Xbox up to the back of the PC, and it's awesome. It works so much better, and the graphics are a little bit better, and it's really noticeable when you record. But it was interesting I hadn't been in my computer in a while, and I went through with a dust buster thing, you know, the air, and I blew out some of the dust, and everything looked pretty solid still, and it wasn't that dirty. So I was pretty happy with how it's been running and everything. I was pretty proud.
Yeah, actually, I could see. I was like, been looking at mine. I see a little bit of dust, but not that much. I was like, that's not bad for, you know. But I don't have it on the ground here, and when I had it at my other place, I had it like lifted off the ground.
Yeah, my old computer I always had on the ground, and the amount of dust was insane. And even now, like, I have nothing under my desk now. Like, I used to have the computer tower there and some boxes and stuff, and I've completely cleared under my desk, except for I have a little footrest. And I can't tell you guys how dirty it gets, because I have cats and stuff. Like, I don't know how there collects so much dust and cat hair underneath my desk and stuff. I constantly vacuum it, and I know that might be gross, but like, it is, that could have been going into the computer, you know, all that stuff. So it's like such a huge relief not having that. And then I just keep it like, because it's so open, it's easy to get a vacuum in there like often. I try to do it like multiple times a week and just keep it really clean.
Yeah, you gotta make it convenient. I think I had mine, so even if you just lift it like 2 inches off the ground,
that helps a little bit.
It's so much less dirt just because it's not on the ground.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, for sure. I definitely believe that. But yeah, I mean, that's computer stuff. Should we talk about some PUBG? Let's go over what we want to talk about today. I'll probably intro it in the beginning of the stream, but here's some stuff that me and Andrew kind of wanted to chat about today. A lot of PUBG stuff, as always. We had update 7.3 that just hit the PC PTS, or the public test server. And since we've last podcast, I don't know if we've talked about ranked. We might have in the last podcast, but we definitely got to talk about ranked. And there's, you know, more bot talk probably, as always. There's some new anti-cheat stuff hopefully coming to console very soon. And we have the PS5 reveal tomorrow. Today, as we record this, is the night of June 10th. And so tomorrow will be the 11th, and that's when the PS5 reveal is. And then I also played Valorant for the first time, but only like 2 games. So where do you want to start? You want to start off talking about ranked first?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. It seems like the biggest thing on the agenda, probably.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that. So ranked came out, what is it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago. And yeah, at least, I mean, it was a while ago now, actually. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 weeks ago. So. And it was actually it was a pretty cool coincidence. So I was like, damn, rank's coming out today. I don't know what I'm going to do. A lot of people that I play with don't play when I start, I stream around, like noon Eastern Standard Time. And a lot of people I play with don't play until they're off work. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? There's not many people available during the day. So I'm like, I'm going to have to find some EU guys that are playing. And most people I know in EU are like streamers and or people I've never played with before. So I hopped in the Beard Guy stream, and I've never played with Ben before, and he had put together a team. It was Pigeon and another guy, Nacho, who I've talked to before. I know him. I haven't played with him, but I've talked to him a few times. And they're like, dude, come on in. And so I got to play with those guys, and we had an awesome team. And we went 6 out of 7 of our first rank games, and our stats were just insane because we didn't die. And I did 19 KD and all these ridiculous stats that obviously aren't true. And and honestly, what's crazy is playing with those guys. Like me and Ben were like on the bottom, and like Pigeon and the other guy are just great players. And I ended up placing in gold. We all got gold 5 or gold 4, which is incredible because Pigeon was probably averaging 5 or 6 kills a game, and we won 6 out of 7. And for him to end up in gold 4, I was just kind of, I think the highest I saw someone place was gold 3. I don't think you could have placed any higher than that. Yeah,
I'm guessing that's just kind of like it's because there's no calibration, right, at that point.
Yeah, and it's the first season, so they probably want to. And on the flip side of that, sorry to just keep kind of rambling on here, but I can't find a single person that's placed in bronze. So I think as a calibration, they were just letting everyone be silver or gold, and I think a majority of people went into silver. And then maybe if you just do really poor, you'll go into bronze. But if anyone out there is a bronze player, don't be afraid to admit it. Hit us up. I want to know if anyone out there is bronze. And on PUBG console.
Sense. I mean, it definitely makes sense that they start kind of in the middle, right? And then once people are ranked silver, bronze, then it starts you get played. Eventually, when there's enough ranked people, they start placing the silver people in there, and then they can start kind of dropping people to bronze, and vice versa. The gold people can start moving to gold or platinum, and are down to silver. It just seems to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think. What was interesting? Oh, and we got to talk about the podcast, dude, the Winner podcast, because that was crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, mentioned that.
Because what made me think about it is that the designer who helped design ranked in PUBG, his name is Maynard. He got a lot of inspiration. I think he said he worked at League of Legends briefly. He got a lot of inspiration from League of Legends, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but only about 20% or so people play ranked, and I think a high percentage of those players are obviously in bronze and silver. So right now I feel like PUBG will eventually want to be at that point where you want most of the players to be in bronze and silver, and then gold is tough, platinum is really hard, diamond is insane, and then if you're a master rank player, you're God. So in that scale, I don't know if I'll be able to be master, but right now I feel like I could. I'm really close to being a diamond. I'm not too many points away from diamond 5, and then and masters after that, but kind of just trailing off there. But so what are your thoughts on it? What was your experience first playing it?
I mean, I like it. I started out in silver. Now I'm in gold.
Nice.
I'm a gold 5, but I haven't
gold
played.
5. Let's go.
Yeah, it's hard. It's I played probably about 6 times total ranked, and it's only 3 or 4 games a night. I think it's good. I think it's different. It's kind of brings you back to the old PUBG where it's more intense.
Yeah.
It is fun because it's more esports driven. So it's just a different game though in terms of hey, you gotta make sure you get to the circle quickly.
Totally.
You gotta play center circle more. You really need to, you're not gonna really engage with people until the end. You gotta find a place to lock down. It's honestly principles that you would learn when you played old school Call of Duty. You'd hold zones, you know what I mean? You kind of want to get a compound or a zone and hold it down where you have good defense. positioning. You don't want to be the one that's constantly moving, because then you're going to get caught between two people,
So true. You're right. That kind of reminds me of like when we had really intense Call of Duty, say like objective games, or even team deathmatch games where you wouldn't want to lose the spawn of the better side of the map, and you'd be like holding an area but playing aggressive and rotating, but like you're still holding down one area. It's pretty true. You basically have to do that now. In
it's
ranked.
just compound. There's just more power positions than like Halo always had power positions, and I think like this is just compounds and places where you have walls and coverings are going to be your biggest ally there. I mean, that's not any different than in normal gameplay, but I think now it's like way more important to get in the position early and just kind of like last.
Yeah, it's tough for me, man, because I feel like on one side of the spectrum, I like overcompensate and freak out and just like be like, we have to push center and we need to rotate immediately. And sometimes I probably take it too seriously. And if I played maybe a little bit more casual and like relax and just maybe more carefree. But on the other hand, I don't want to skip too far ahead here, but like being in Platinum 1, dude, if you have a bad game, you lose so many points. So the fear of getting killed first is so high for me and for anyone as you rank up, that like rotating and all that stuff just seems so important. I don't think that it's like you can actually overcompensate. You know what I mean? And I had some games where I got like 30th place with like 2 or 3 kills and I lost points. Obviously that depends on the people. Maybe the people in the game weren't that great and overall on aggregate, but still like and same thing I've heard, if you're in those higher tiers, like you can't just get a couple of kills and like place average. You need to place high, like 100% to get any kind of points at all.
Yeah. I mean, even in gold, like I was like, I get nervous about dying first. I'm like, let's just get here and you just don't want to die. It makes it completely. You want to survive. But,
totally.
It's just different feelings, which is fun. I mean, it's definitely more fun that way. And in some sense, like it just depends on the pace you want to play, I guess.
100%, man. It takes you back to like first playing PUBG, where you really calculate whether you want to get into a fight or not because you don't want to die. And there's a lot of those things. But for anybody that hasn't played ranked, it might be tough for you to follow this because it's way different. If you've never played esports mode, it's only 64 players. It's only on Erangel, Miramar, and Sanhok. These circles are, I don't know all the rule sets, but the circles 100% are faster. Like the blue zone comes in fast. It's quick. Like the games feel a little bit quicker, like a little bit shorter, and there's way more loot and shit if you don't land near everyone, it's quiet, and then it can be kind of quiet rotating, but then you might be in a pretty small circle with like 40 people because everyone's played the same way. Everyone's rotating, everyone's trying to push center, and then it gets really crazy from like the mid game on because there's so many people in close proximity to one another that it just becomes like super stressful. Your constant call outs, you're like teams here, teams there. It gets pretty wild. And sweaty, I guess people would say.
Stressful. Yeah, it's sweaty. It's definitely more sweaty. But I mean, that makes it fun. I think that you're playing like tactically, you're playing the game. It's kind of meant to be played. You know what I mean? Like the way it should be played in a way.
Totally.
I think it's like, there's just been there's times where like, if you don't play as a team or like you get split up, like I've had like games where I was like, we were trying to get to a teammate that like split out and I got caught because they were trying to go to them and I died, and then I'm like, I got shitty rankers. So you're just like, you know what, dude, you wander off, like you get, do stupid things, get stupid results. You can't really, you don't want to like go after them at that point.
No, there's a couple of times where I've gone out for people, and got killed. And I was like, you know what, I made that decision. I had to live with that for the bad placement. But like this over anything is where you got to be like, dude, sorry, man, like you didn't land with us. Like that's your problem. Like you got to land tight. You got to land together. And even like Ranger was saying, like there's certain things that like really you might just think, oh, it's kind of a joke, who cares? But like you need to be, when you're landing, focusing on like, where's the vehicle? You really do need to, this isn't a thing where like I can be reading chat and be like, oh, I have no idea who landed near me. Like you need to know who's near you, because that could be the difference between you like losing so many points and then you're just wasting your time. Because if you're just casually losing 20 points and you want to move forward, it could take you 2, 3, 4 games to gain 20 points back, especially if you're just getting 1 kill or whatever. If you're really grinding out, it could take a really long time to do that.
It seems like losing points is like almost disproportional to gaining points, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense for now. And I think I would assume that in this first one they want to make it hard so people don't just go like, I'm master, this is boring. You know what I mean? I think they probably want to make it tough for people to get up there, I would imagine.
I agree. And I'm sure like it might actually start lowering as people kind of flatten out. You know what I mean? As like the rank starts spreading out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
For sure.
I think it's like, what was it though? Like the other day I was playing and I the game crashed and I was just
it's
like,
lame.
I just was like, I think I ended up placing like, 34th or something. It ended up being, I didn't lose any points. I just hit 0, but I was like, if I lost points, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like we were in a decent position. Like it wasn't the best position, but we were in it,
For sure, man.
It's just like very easy to be like, whoa, like that sucks. If you lose points for that, it's really shitty, but it's like, I guess that's something they're gonna have to work on, is like knowing that if you crashed out versus like, but then it doesn't matter if you die. Like, because I died in the blue in that game, but it just sucks when you're playing a ranked game because your concentration is high. Like,
but there's no way for them to know that. How do they know if you just quit the app or you disconnected or you pull the plug on the internet? They're never going to be able to know that. And that's the thing. Games have always had an issue with like if you quit or get disconnected. The issue is PUBG disconnects more than any other game that I've played.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is
that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways, like if I was in the middle of healing, like they would know if I wasn't shot or if I was doing something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
but then
they could tell if you try to log back in. I mean, but they don't know if you're like, like you said, pulled the internet out.
Yeah, you could be gaming the system. Yeah.
I mean, at least your placement would be, I don't know how your placement is affected though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I got the placement from when I died from the blue or from when I disconnected. I just don't know that. Which, I mean, it probably wasn't a huge amount of time, but it could be for someone that's like a platinum. It could be a point.
Yeah, and were you not able to get back in, or you died before you got back in?
Died before I got back in.
Okay. Because some people that can't get back in, that's really lame.
Yeah, we were just outside the circle, like, and it was pretty close to the end. Like, and I just, as soon as it hit.
I know this is a shitty answer, so people are not going to like this, but if you're playing ranked, especially for like multiple games, this is just advice out there that you should definitely reset your Xbox, hard reset, hold the power button down for like 10 seconds, and before you play, like turn it on, hold it, turn it off. I don't do it every time, but I also haven't been dealing with crashing that much. And then if you're playing for like a long session, like Pigeon does this, he doesn't play on an X, and every other game or so he restarts his Xbox, and because he like is afraid, he doesn't want to crash out, of course. Like, why would you? And he's a master tier player, and I can't afford that. I mean, that would he could lose an insane amount of like 30 points for having a bad game.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is that like I haven't been having a lot of crashes either, so it's kind of weird.
It's kind of a fluke.
Yeah, and I know last night they had a lot of server issues. So
yeah. Was that the night yesterday? It was. I played a little bit long, and when we were getting off, the last game we had was I was the only person who had it at first. Insane ping, 70% packet loss, and then everyone in our party slowly got that, and then Hammer disconnected, couldn't get back in the game. Then we went to a middle compound, and then out of nowhere, a team like unaffected by the lag, just like literally really good players just run directly towards our location. I was like, I don't know what's going on, man. And fortunately I was able to kill 2 of them because I was like hiding in a weird spot, but it was just so odd. But I think it was just a like thing that they actually weren't having it, but it made me think about like, oh crap, like cheater stuff. But I don't think these guys were cheating. I think they were just pushing the compound. And this is kind of two stories here, or this leads into 2 discussions. One is that pushing center could lead you towards all the best teams, which is kind of like we're going to have to figure out, is that a bad strategy because all the good teams go there, because we've had some games where we pushed center with Pigeon, and we had a lot of high tier players in there, and we kept running into the best teams that were also pushing center, and every fight we were having was super difficult. Or like, do you kind of like sacrifice, okay, let's be off to the side a little bit and hope the circle rotates and maybe not run into as many people, or pick like a less desirable compound that a lot of people skip over, because it's obvious everyone wants to go to the compounds. Like, let's go to the compound with the walls. Let's go here. Like I always say that. There's certain compounds that people love in PUBG, but then I'm kind of noticing ranked, if you go to like a shitty compound that's kind of small, nobody goes there, and it can kind of keep you in the game longer. It's an interesting strategy, like counterintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, I think like for me, playing the center is like, not where your markers are just like on the edge. You know what I mean? I think it's like if you go in a little bit, I don't think that's bad because the circle can shift. But if you're like just on the edge, to me, it's just annoying because then you're gonna have to either cross the circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're like, you get lucky. Then you're playing a lot more of a luck game, right? Where the circle ends up.
Totally.
You know, and I think that's like when you watch pros, they're always moving, you know, not maybe within to the exact center, but like you said, like they're all, you know,
they're all
maybe like 3/4 of the way through the circle. You know what I mean? Because if it shifts all the way to the other side and you're on that edge, like you're screwed. You're just in a really shitty position.
You're right. If you're on the edge, you're risking it flipping on you.
Yeah, and then you're just an ass at that point. You know what I mean? Like you did it to yourself. Like that's like because that's why you always see them pushing these compounds and like knowing. And it seems like because I was watching a lot of the PCS for the charity stuff and I was really kind of getting what they were doing. And I watch Ibiza sometimes in the morning. That professional gamer, he plays for Liquid, I guess.
Okay, I don't know what that is you're mentioning today.
Yeah, dude, he's insane. You know, and he knows like he's like we got to get here, you know. Very calm, collected player, but he knows like, you know, we can't be here. We gotta go, you know. And just watching him loot is like scary too.
He's super fast.
Oh, dude, it's like you watch like any other streamer play. They're fast, but you watch him and it's just like it doesn't even make sense how he's picking things up.
Wow. Yeah.
He makes them look slow. He makes them look like they're not doing it. He's like,
yeah. The rotations, man, is huge, and like it's not like we gotta go. That's the thing, man. You can't have for me it can be frustrating too because you can't have the people where you're like we gotta go and then someone's like no but I'm looking for one times. You're like no dude no like getting that scope, dude, is us dying right now. Like we need to leave this second and get there before any other team gets there, and then if we don't get there, now we don't have a place to go, then we're driving in circles, then we get a flat tire, and then we're dead. You know what I mean? Like that's how fast it happens. So you need to be like, basically when the circle pops and if you're not in a perfect spot, you need to be like getting ready to get in your car and move and get to the next near center location, like off the bat. And not in every case, but like in many cases, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. You have to be moving. You can't be playing. It's like, if you don't have it now, you ain't getting it right now.
Yeah.
You know, like this isn't the time. It's definitely annoying in that sense, but that's just kind of how you pick your team too. You know, you got people that you know are gonna be like, okay, we're going, and they're like, okay, they're getting in the car actively. They're not like, hold on, you know, or 200 yards away. You're like, dude, you know.
Yeah, for sure, man. And one thing that's beneficial there is to have someone maybe on a motorcycle to scout out compounds, and that's what a lot of pros do is they'll drive around even while their team is looting to scout out, like, we know, okay, team Liquid's at this compound, this team's at this compound, whatever, they, you know, assuming what team is which, or maybe they know what they're wearing. And you don't need to go that far, but like having a guy on a motorcycle drive past the compound before a slow Dacia or UAZ pulls up, you know, it's so much harder to hit a guy on a motorcycle. Letting 100%. You guys know, like, oh, okay, this compound's clear, like go there. Like that's super helpful. That's a really good strat in ranked.
Yeah,
I've been using that a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty helpful.
You know, I mean, it's definitely helpful, and I think I had done it a little bit. I just suck at motorcycles sometimes. But like, you know, the other night when we played, we got like literally chased down by a team too. It was really weird, like unorthodox for rank. But
they were just playing aggressive.
Yeah, they were. I mean, we were in separate vehicles, and we just, you know, it just happens. And I got caught. I didn't like knock them and just immediately killed the dude, and then they killed me. Just like, but like that's kind of how you have to do it, you know. I was like, I need the points. I'm like, I knew I was gonna die. I'm like, I had to thirst him. I was like,
dude, the thirsting is so real in ranked because you want those points.
You have to, especially in that like a situation where it's like 1v3 or something like that. You're like, I know I'm dead here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to just confirm the kill to get the points.
100%.
Like, I'm gonna lose.
What I've learned about ranked is, so obviously you want to thirst as fast as possible, but if someone's in the open or like you killed someone that's by themselves, you should always let your teammate thirst them because they get the assist if they thirst for you, and an assist equals a kill. So you always want to let a teammate shoot get the thirst first of all. That's like one of the rules I've learned playing ranked. Second is they aren't telling us. We learned in the podcast that you can get an assist, by shooting something with damage, but they're not going to say how much damage it takes to get the assist so people don't manipulate it. But they said anywhere from like most likely, 1 to 2 people will get the assist, and there's potentially a third person that could get an assist, but it seems unlikely. So that leads me to believe it could be, I don't know, like 30 damage maybe to get the assist on a kill. Who knows though? They haven't posted that.
I don't think they're ever going to share their point system, it seems like.
No, and like I said, it's so varied off of like every who's in your match and what rank, and then also like I'm sure they'll adjust it next season. So you definitely want to shoot people and get your opponents, your friends thirst, and then also if you die in the blue, you lose points because they take it as you trying to like they penalize you, because some people instead of getting and some people, if they know they're gonna die, they just stay in the blue and die, so you don't get a kill. So they want to penalize people for doing that, so they actually take points. And then there was a fourth thing, but I forget what it is. Those are 3 like helpful things. There was another one though about like points and how everything works. But
kills are the same as assists.
Yeah, I said that was the first one, and then making sure you help your teammates take people down, and then getting penalized in the blue. There was another one, but I forget. I had like 4 points that I thought were kind of interesting, but those are 3. I didn't write them down, so sorry. But those are ones that you kind of need to know off the bat. Those are helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the weird thing was like if you knock someone in the blue and the blue kills them, you get an assist, but it's okay because they're the same amount of points, right?
Yeah. But
it's still a weird system, I guess.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
They would know if they got killed by the blue, you know what I mean? That data is there, but I guess they just didn't really think of it or whatever.
I don't know, or maybe there's a reason that we don't know.
Confirm. It just makes you want to confirm your kill more. Luckily they're the same amount of points, but if you're worried about like your KD or something, you're gonna have to go for it.
Yeah, and I guess we should talk about, talking about that. We should talk about bring up the podcast. We forgot to kind of mention that we maybe go over this. So there's a PUBG podcast called Winner Winner Podcast, and it's been around for a long time. And I've never listened to it, but I've heard about it before. And I might have listened to like one episode a long time ago. And it was just one guy, but I think there's another host maybe before other episodes. There was just one host, and he had Brian Corrigan, who is the head of PUBG NA, on, and also Maynard Price, who is a game designer for PUBG, who I referenced before earlier in the podcast. And this podcast was awesome. I mean, I saw so many people talking about it on social media, and I definitely had to promote it. I've already made a video talking about the radar hack fix that they talked about in the podcast. They talked about ranked and bots and why they did everything. And there's still some things that I think, probably debatable or that maybe they did wrong, but no one's perfect. But if you listen to this podcast, they really gave a lot of insight and behind the scenes into like what's going on in PUBG, why they did what they did, why like they're like, we want to do this, what the community wants, but we can't yet, and that's why we did this. Like they explained a lot of this stuff, and I think they were pretty honest about it. And they talked about placement, which me and you kind of were talking about. At first, I was like, maybe individual's right, and you're like, nah, dude, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, and then eventually I was like, yeah, you're right. Team is the way to go. Right now, in PUBG Ranked has individual placement. And I thought it would maybe be interesting just to try it out at first. But quickly, when you play with a team, it sucks. And it doesn't feel good. It's one of the few things that I think they mentioned it in the podcast too. It just doesn't feel good to die. Like the other day I died. There was probably 8 people out there. It was just me and another team. And I helped kill the last team, but then I died. And then Ranger went on and won. And then he gets first place and I don't get first place, but I got like a bunch of kills that game. I was alive right until the last 1 minute or 2, you know what I mean? And then I don't get a first place with that. It's kind of lame. Yeah.
I agree.
Obviously. And Andrew was a big proponent of like not understanding that. But in the podcast, they explained that one of the biggest issues they're having, well, first is one of the things is they weren't sure because they thought more people were going to be solo queuing into matches and stuff, that they didn't want it to be only just based off your team. But one of the biggest issues they have right now is that when you end the match, say you're with your team and you die first, or say you're playing with people you don't know and you die first, you're the 64th person out of 64 to die. And you quit out. You're like, screw this, I don't know these guys, I quit out. And that team goes on to win. First of all, do you really deserve those points? Because now you're just kind of getting carried. And second of all, when you quit out, now you have like 20 minutes before you're going to get your results. And then if you play another game, like how do they eventually show you your results? There's like a whole weird thing about like, how do they show your results? How do they match make you? Say you're like in master tier. What if that game makes you drop out of master tier, but you don't know until 20 minutes later or something, right? There's like a bunch of weird coding things that causes issues. There's how do they display people? There's no instant feedback. There's so many issues, like from a coding perspective, that they don't have figured out yet. And they just wanted to test out if ranked would even work, you know, like would people play it? Are there enough people? And then that gets into a whole discussion about that's why there's bots, because they weren't even sure if there was enough people that would play ranked and they wanted the other queues to be healthy. So it gets into this whole wheel of PUBG of why they're doing what they're doing. It's like a giant wheel of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, and they're trying to do everything at one time, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the way I would address it is like a lot of things they talked about, like I can relate to because I work in an industry where we, you know, kind of build like all these like very similar, like not the same, but very similar in like terms of like they're waiting for an event to happen and they don't have a way to tell that this event happened, right? Like my team builds like these events, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like and they said in the thing, it's a simple thing was like if they quit at the, you know, if you quit out of the game, you should get the place when you quit, which makes sense to me. That would be the easiest fix. If they don't know when you're quitting out of a game, that's kind of crazy to me. But they didn't really go into detail about that, if I remember. I mean, the hardest thing, in my opinion, in all this is like you can have the best product in the world or the best idea or all this stuff, but like implementation is everything, man. Like if it's implemented poorly, you know, people aren't going to be happy, you know. And like I can take this from my experiences. Like we've done like things, like we have these things that automate people's jobs, like not automate their jobs, but they help like greatly. And like there's been times where the first instance was like a massive thing and it just was implemented really poorly, and other things that were way simpler and didn't really do that much help, and they're implemented better, and the things that were small were so much more well received because the implementation was smooth rather than this other thing that was implemented really bad. And I think that's just like their struggle sometimes, is like they have these huge great ideas and it's just sometimes like they backfire because it's like a huge idea that it's like really like just pushed out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just, you know, it's an iterative process. But it's just hard because that's where, you know, people are reactionary, you know, like the team thing, I think was very reactionary. You had a lot of content creators being like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? And, you know, it's hard to explain it after the fact, right? Like it makes sense to me. It makes me feel better about it. But, you know, does it make, you know, everybody feel better about it?
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I forgot to mention real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but that they explained that the reason why they did squads was because they say it was because most people played squads and they wanted to give ranked the best opportunity to prevail and like people actually try it. And if you know, and putting in squads with the ability to go in as 1, 2, 3, or 4 really compensates everyone, when solos only compensates for solo players, duos only compensates for duo players, squads captures everything. So they're like, if you were us and your company, you're trying to put out a product and you don't know if it's going to work, you're going to put out the product that has the best chance of working, and that's squads. So and they can't. Yeah. So, but you're right though. Like the reactionary thing, like maybe they should have said that and then launched squads. You know what I mean? And then people would be like, oh, I get why you're doing this. But instead you have people like flaming them, being like, you guys idiots, like we're streamers, we want to play solo, blah, 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 blah. And then people are like, did you hear, like this streamer is not happy with PUBG? And then and PUBG has done that kind of forever. Like, and that's why I feel like it's kind of the cool thing to hate on PUBG, because like there is so much like social media backlash all the time, or at least in the past like year or whatever. And it's kind of a bummer, you know what I mean? To see all that, though. It is a bummer.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's like part of the problem. It's hard. Like, dudes, it's just like, sometimes it's just good to document your reasoning. Like, why are we doing it this way? And I think maybe if they start putting those into the patch notes more, like, hey, we're doing ranked and we're doing squads only because we want to make sure this works. And like, if this works out, there's the possibility that we would add, you know,
solos. Yeah.
You don't even have to say that. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even say that. I would just say we're just want to do squads to test it out, and you know, we're open to other ideas.
Yeah, you know what? They ended up saying all that stuff, and they said it in the podcast. But see, they need more. They need access to like
a month later,
100%, dude. But the thing is, you know, what's unfortunate though is that hearing them in the podcast to me like answered so many things that they almost like need that kind of form of like of you know, media to help them explain things, or like you said, include it in the patch notes, like why they're doing what they're doing or something.
Dude, yeah, I like that. I kind of like put this together after the podcast because when I was listening to it, because like we have a team at like where I work, and they're all like super smart people, super smart. Like they're all PhDs in math and crazy things, and they build like a tool that everyone uses, right? Or everyone should be using. But so many people don't use it because there's no documentation on it. No one knows how to use it, right? So like, it's different, but it's the same thing, right? Like you have something really good, but you're just like not being transparent with it. Like, how do I use this? Like, it's like these guys are really smart, but you need like a person that's in there that can just like communicate really well. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't need to be like a rocket scientist. They just need to be able to be like, hey, like I understand what you're doing here. Let me tell the people what you're doing and how to do it. Like what's going on a little bit more clearly. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure it's as you know, things like that are tough in a company because there's just so many, like, not say like a business, but there's just so many like spinning wheels and like things going on and
100%
things happening. But I hear what you're saying. No, I kind of agree, man. And like without good marketing and good explanation and stuff like that, like people, I mean, there's still people that don't know the PTS exists on Xbox. You know, I get comments every month about that. Every time there's a new PTS or something, people, what's the PTS on YouTube and stuff? So like, you know, like, and PUBG, you know, like a lot of people said like PUBG hasn't done a great job explaining things like in their lobby, like why not on PC? I think they show the patch notes now when you log into PC, but like they never really promoted their esports until now. Like they're adding a new esports screen in the new update, so you can go see what's going on in esports mode. But like, if that should have been, you know, you say all this stuff, but then also like hearing them talk, they're like, listen, we're this size team, like we have an idea, but like we've been working on ranked for a year. So it's not like they're just sitting there being like, oh, we're not doing this. So I also feel for them because they're probably working their ass off on all this stuff, you know, and then like, and they can't do everything at once and add this screen and add that screen. And they have to pick and choose what they're doing and continue to make new seasons and this and that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the podcast was definitely enlightening 100%. And I feel like I could relate a lot to their stresses, and I get it. Like they're a small company. So it's just,
or smaller than some other companies.
Smaller than most, yeah. And I mean, even where I work, it's a big company. And we have a ton of people, and we still struggle with that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just but sometimes being transparent, like the transparency, can alleviate the frustration. You know what I mean? In the beginning, I think, but I don't know if it 100% would, but it might.
Yeah. So really, a lot of the.
Here's this dropping a bomb and then being like, oh, this is why we did it. Like X amount of time later, because like if players leave, dude, they have to hear that explanation to come back, and then if they do hear that explanation to come back, are they coming back,
and will they even hear it? Like you said, like who knows? Probably not.
Yeah. So you probably think 20% of the people that like would leave hear it, maybe, I don't know. It's tough, dude. It's tough. I think the difference between what I do is like, and these guys that are creating this tool is like, I work there, so like I have to use it. I don't really have a choice. Like the difference is like with PUBG is that people have a choice, so
yeah,
it's just a different thing. And I don't know if that's going to fix it. It would just be my suggestion that like just try to like put as much stuff in those patch notes as you humanly can.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And then again, not even like all hardcore players are going to look at the patch notes, but at least you have people that do read them, and a lot of like people who stream are going to read them, and they're going to be the ones relaying a lot of the info to like people who watch and listen to the content and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
because I mean, I'm sure a lot of those hardcore players are watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, like yours, to get this information rather than reading it themselves. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But I mean, my audience is just what it is. But like if you're Choco Taco reading the patch notes, and then your audience is impacting so many people. So like, and he probably reads the patch notes, I would assume, and Wacky Jackie and stuff like that. So for sure, you know what's interesting too, man, because there's so much in kind of like I'm blanking on the term, but being concerned about time of the podcast, there's so much to talk about. But one thing that in the podcast that they mentioned about all this was that they kind of admitted that like for them, their biggest fire, to use their words, that they're trying to put out right now is the new player issue. And, you know, and that can stem off into so many conversations about like the skill of PUBG, bots, ranked. But just to stick it to like what you were talking about players coming to the game and then leaving and being upset and new players, player retention, it kind of all goes in hand. And I am hoping, you know, I totally understand now more about the bots and everything. And I feel much better about it. And I feel like honestly, you know, people are going to maybe never come back because of the bots. And I get comments like, well, I can't believe they added bots. I haven't played since bots. So that stinks because they lost those players. But now they're seeing data that new players are sticking around longer. And a lot of that stuff is encouraging. And you can really see like the long-term plan, even though like I kind of saw this a long time ago and I was always defending PUBG about like new players coming in. And I mean, I've really thought this since like, I was like one day upset about the bots, but then I'm like, okay, I get it. Like ranked, all this stuff. And you see it playing out now. Like I don't play against many bots. Today I was on PC and I played all bots, but you know what? I never play PC and I'm terrible with mouse and keyboard. So it actually made the game playable for me. And I actually felt like my mouse and keyboard skills improved today because instead of just playing for a half hour and getting discouraged and going back to Xbox, I actually played for multiple hours today. And then I was like, oh, wow, like I'm actually picking up looting and all this stuff. So think about like how many people are in the same boat on across every platform. And then as you get better, you get less and less bots. And then maybe they'll implement it where if you're a really good player, you just literally get no bots. And then, or maybe you can toggle bots on and off. And then if you want to go play competitive, you go play ranked. So that's like, there's 3 tiers, like all bots, less bots. Maybe they'll make a 4th tier where there's absolutely no bots and then ranked. That's awesome. That's like a really cool trajectory of like PUBG and learning how to play the game for new players.
Yeah, I agree. I understand the bots now. They definitely help. Even watching you today play PC, I was like, oh, I'm jealous because he's learning keyboard mouse better. You know what I mean? I was like, I should do that. But yeah, we used to do it for an hour and be like, this sucks.
Totally. Me and you would make it last like an hour and we'd be like, dude, let's go play Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. And I agree. I just think the bots, when it comes down to it, it goes to the same thing. Very poor implementation. You know what I mean? Like there's too many bots when you first started playing and like the reasoning was really kind of shoddy. Like they're saying data, you know what I mean?
It was all over the place. It was all over the place. And they didn't clearly explain the path of like, we're doing this. Like if they said what I said right there, that we're putting in bots for new players, if you're a good player, you want to deal with them. And then if you're really competitive, you can play ranked. Then I think people would have understood it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the whole thing when you got into your first like however many matches, and you know you're in with 80% bots, and like the thing was like, oh, it's based off your season 7 skills. Like why season 7? Like tell me, you know what I mean? Like why not season 6, a complete season? Why not season 5? Why not all your lifetime? Like why season 7, your shortest season? Like you know what I mean? Like you know when people join, you know it's not difficult. I don't know.
Yeah, why couldn't they tie it to like I'm like the PUBG is the in-game rank. I'm the highest rank, 500. I'm sure you're pretty high because you've been playing for a long time. Yeah. Like why couldn't they just tie it to that? Like if you're a certain rank, I don't know. But then again, I think they were going off skill level, and anybody those were just time-based ranks. So I guess they wanted to go off your actual skill level. But then, like you said, they still have data from previous seasons, probably.
Dude, who knows? A lot of things they could have figured out. I think it was just and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like I just don't think that was implemented properly at all. Like just to me, I think a lot of like even we a lot of people made videos about it, and some of them came back. Like Boris made comments about it, and now he's like, oh yeah, after I played this many games, I don't have to play bots anymore.
Yeah,
but like I just don't think it should have been like that, and I just think that's like, they just burned themselves on that one.
Totally. Yeah, but it's tough though because you hear them. They have pretty good explanations. Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm sure there's some explanations. But I think you're right. There's probably some like misimplementation there. But it's hard for me to say because I just don't know. And you're more in that world of stuff like that.
To me, like I didn't have as much of a forgiving feeling on that one. You know what I mean? Because like, dude, if I'm gonna tell someone like, oh, like we're gonna choose every third, like we're gonna do 3 or if this comes in, it has to be 3 or greater. Someone's going to be like, why 3? And if I don't have the math to back that up, it's not happening. You know what I mean? And to me, like, I just felt like there wasn't the like reasoning. It was not compelling enough for me to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like just for me, I mean, maybe to someone else it made sense. And if, and I'm harder probably than most people, to be honest with you. I just think.
No, I mean, a lot of people I think were agreeing with you, but
Yeah. I know. I mean, like, why not start with 50%? Like, why 80% of the lobby too as a starting point? You know what I mean? That was calculated. Like, why 80? You know what I mean? Why not 50? You know what I mean? Like, they could adjust. I really don't know. That just was
yeah. And then, and like you said, with everything with not really a clear explanation what's happening, and for people to jump into 80% lobbies, you think like, what just happened to this game? You're like, the game is what just happened.
2 days later, they're coming out with a letter to apologize and tell us like what they're trying to do, and it's just like, dude, like, this is 2 days of people just being frustrated, and now you're hoping that a letter hits their mailbox, kind of thing. Like, come on. Like, you know, I didn't read that. I read that because I happened to see it. You know what I mean? I didn't, like,
yeah, that's true, man. That's true. That's true.
More than anything.
Yeah.
The podcast. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, implementation, dude, that stuff is hard, but you know, there's just times where it's just like,
yeah. Yeah, for sure. And PUBG, and I think what is the last straw for some people is that PUBG kind of has a history of that, you know? So I think for some people, like, not only were the bots crazy, but for some people it was also kind of the last straw. But to end on a positive note, though, with this stuff with PUBG, I will say that, like, now we can agree that, like, the game's in a much better place. Ranked is awesome. We kind of understand more, like, long-term trajectory of what they're doing. This podcast, if you're still really mad at PUBG, take a listen to the podcast. If you're looking for something to listen to, the winner episode, you can search it on YouTube or in your iTunes. Think no affiliation with them. I don't even know the guy at all. Just promoting because it was really good. And I've noticed, like, YouTube comments and stuff wise, and even in the stream, like when bots came out, everyone was like, "Why are you playing this game?" YouTube comments were horrific for a while. Like, everything was just brutal. And then once the bots kind of like evened out a little bit, like a little bit better, started getting comments from players. I put out a controller settings video that actually is doing really well. Like, it's getting a lot of views. And there's a lot of people that were messaging me there and on social media being like, "Hey, watch this video. I'm new to PUBG. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm getting a lot of kills." And, you know, you might say like the game should be hardcore. I don't want to get into this argument right now, but like there's a whole argument for the game is hardcore. I get that. But like, there's a lot of, actually, let's just say it real fast, because someone commented on my YouTube channel today, like, I had to learn without bots. Like, why do these people get to have help? Like, first of all, most likely you played when the game was early and we were all learning. And even if you did just play, even if you just started before the bots and you had to suffer through really terrible games, A, like, maybe you enjoyed the challenge. Not everyone enjoys those challenges. And B, like, if everyone keeps leaving the game and no one's playing, then the game's dead and you played yourself. Like, if you want the game to be so hardcore that nobody plays, then how can you can't play the game anymore. So we all need to, like, accept that the game needs to be accessible for new players so that we can have new people to play against. And if you're really that hardcore, then go play ranked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't understand that either. I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of an annoying argument to me.
Yeah, it's gonna run. Eventually, people just aren't gonna play it.
Yeah. So you need new people. That's like a big thing. But so I see a lot of these positive comments now, and I'm kind of excited about that. And then on top of that, I think that, like, this new update's cool. We can briefly just mention the stuff that's in there, but we don't have to really talk about it too much. And then, like I said, I still think there's a lot of stuff planned. There's a lot of rumors about even, like, just so many more things coming to the game. Like, they have so many more ideas and things they're working on. And so I just think there's a lot of life left in PUBG. And if they can kind of turn around their, like, image a little bit, and I'm seeing more and more positive comments. Like, now I'm seeing, usually every update, I'm seeing like, this looks terrible, F PUBG. Now I'm seeing like, this is exciting again, like, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm seeing like better comments. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm hoping it really turns around. I'm honestly, like, I always sound probably negative, but I'm pretty optimistic about it. You know, there's been a lot of a lot of issues that were before aren't. You know, I think when they get this, like, these, you know, we could segue into this now, like the new cheating stuff that they're going to be implementing is a huge deal. You know, I remember I was watching, like, Choco Taco right when Rank came out, and he was like, you know, I've just been burned by PUBG so many times, because he's like, I was so optimistic, and he's like, you know, and I'm hoping, like, streamers like Choco Taco he does still stream it. I think he's streaming it now, but, like, some of these big streamers start coming back and doing it, you know, and just kind of, like, get over some of these weird issues that they had. Some of them were more, like, I think, personal things, like, that really had nothing to do with the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, like, you know, it's moving in the right direction. I just hope, like, they slowly stop, like, having people with optimistic expectations by burning them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping that like the next update, like we get a good update, and I don't feel like I'm like, you know, I was optimistic and I just got burned at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. I hear that. I definitely hear that.
Once, shame on you. You know, fool me twice. You know, the
shame on me. Yeah.
I know I wanted to say Bush one, but I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think on this one, we're way past 2.
Yeah. And I think that's how, like, you know, Choco Taco feels and stuff like that. And even Wacky Jackie, all these guys, they think that way, you know, and I get it. I don't disagree with them. If this is like my living, like yours, you know, and stuff like that, I would definitely understand that, you know, you don't want to be selling something and be like, and get, you know, selling A and getting B. It just sucks after a while. So it'll be interesting. I think that there's definitely some huge positives coming out of it, and I think that podcast was very helpful. So
yeah, I agree, man. It was really awesome. And yeah, I hope I basically just agree with what you said. I really have nothing to add on that. But yeah, we could talk about the radar thing that they're putting in. So this, I think, is just for console right now, but they are working on like they said they're like doing a lot of work towards cheating on PC and console. And really, when I was doing some research about this, I mean, I saw how much cheating is going on in like every game, and how Valorant is doing all this crazy stuff to try to stop cheating. I mean, this is, you know, so many people hate on PUBG and then play Warzone, and there's a ton of cheaters. There's cheaters in Tarkov in every game. Like it's just a thing that it's gonna exist in every game. But this is pretty interesting. So I put out a video about radar hacking, and again, to try to save some time, if you want all the details about radar hacking, you can check out that video. Talk about like what is radar hacking, you know, how does this exist? How are they trying to fix it from the research that I did? Basically, just to mention in the podcast, like people are hooking their Xboxes up to their computer and running programs where it enables them to see everything on the map. They can see all of the loot. They can see all the information of the game, where the guns are, where the players are, how much health you have, everything. And it's, you know, obviously it doesn't give you, you can't just get an auto win, and you still need to hit your shots and do all that stuff. But information is so important in PUBG, and then knowing where to get the best gear, so then you're looted up. Yeah. If you want to say you're playing ranked, you can avoid all the players that you want, you know, or you could notice like, oh, this team all has like level 1 gear. They must be bad. And we're like 20 minutes into the game or something. Let's go kill them. You know, I mean, there's so much potential of crazy shit that you could do that I can't even think of. And that's really a bummer, man, that, you know, and PUBG has a hard time detecting that, because if you're doing a regular cheat, like if you tamper with PUBG's code, Xbox is going to pick that up. But this is like going around the code, and just, it's just skimming the data that's being sent back and forth. So there's really no way to detect it. But PUBG is working on putting in something soon, they said. I don't know what that means in this next patch or Season 8, that will eliminate the ability for this to happen, hopefully. And I'm really looking forward to that, because of the ranked leaderboards, there's a lot of accused cheaters. Again, I don't like pointing people out and stuff like that, but there's a lot of accused cheaters on the ranked leaderboards. There was a day where we played, almost every time I play ranked, I run into people that I know are accused cheaters. So that's a bummer. Yeah. And I also don't like that playing at almost diamond rank, that's all, like I see them all the time in all my games, you know?
It's not fun.
And it seems like to me that more of them tend, at least the ones, maybe just because I play in NA, I'm more aware of them. But like when I was playing in EU with Pigeon and them, I didn't run into any of the guys that I thought were accused cheaters, but then on NA, I see them all the time. So that's a bummer, you know? What's that?
There's just different ones on EU, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's just different ones. Yeah. But it's just kind of lame. Annoying. Yeah, it's just lame, man. Super lame.
When you run a team, I mean, I would say, the radar thing is, I think, a bigger issue on console than it is PC, but I'm sure PC just has different issues. I think like when you play and like a team has, 3 of the 4 players have crate weapons, there's a really good chance that they're, probably using radar. You know what I mean? Like, what are the odds of you getting 3 crates, dude? Like, you gotta be pretty lucky, So,
yeah, I mean, aggressive players push crates, so there's a possibility. But when you see these guys have all of crate weapons and they've killed 30 or 40 people in a lobby, and you're only playing with 64 players, you're like, first of all, how did you find? I mean, that's such a big percentage of players, and even if you're like running around, people are hiding. So like, think about it. If you're playing, if you're the best player in the world, if you're running around PUBG, first of all, people are landing everywhere and the circle is closing in. A certain percentage of people are going to die to blue zone. So like if you got 80 kills in a regular match, you'd be like, how did you even find all those people? That's like impossible.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. If you watch like people like Chocolate Tucker or like Ibiza and like these dudes that are like a dude that's a professional gamer and he's not getting that many kills, you really think that some like guy on, as we say, turd on Xbox is getting, you know, that like beast at it? You know, there's just times where people are like blatantly, you know, cheating, which sucks, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
It definitely is. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that PUBG doesn't do more to like go through player stats. Like, why aren't they like? Yeah. I think we talked about this on maybe they do, but it's these guys that are on the leaderboards with names like I cheat, you know, and even if they're trolling, if you have that name, like you should maybe be looked into. You know what I mean? Like if you have a name like that, why don't they just quickly check? It takes 1 second. Just look at the leaderboards.
How many people, like, you know, you report people but nothing really happens? Like, is it like how many reports do you have to get from players like before they actually take a look? Like, obviously if you look at a lot of these guys, like remember we played a one game and you were like, dude, these guys just lasered us with a 6 times on this gun, like there's no way.
Yeah, they're definitely strike back stuff. And I mean, for me, I how many times I've accused people of like actually cheating? Very, very rare, man. Like never. And then we got lasered by 6 times Groza or whatever it was. You're like, no.
In 2 games. And they all had crate weapons in both games. They all like all players. And that's the thing to me. It's like, don't you look at like season over season, you know, even month over month when like your KD goes from 1.2 or 1.0 to 5.
Yeah.
Like, dude, something is wrong there. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen. Like, the game didn't, like, they didn't just magically wake up one season and get really good. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't happen like that. So I would say, like, you know, if there's a number of reports, you know, there's definitely an anomaly, dude, you know?
Yeah. It bums me out, man, because I've been, like, lurking some streams, and I like, because I've been seeing these people on the leaderboards, I'm like, let me go check out their streams and or whatever, and, like, I heard people talking about radar, and I'm like, dude, you know, it's just lame. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't even like talking about it because I just feel like it like highlights it more. And I was like kind of hesitant about making this video, but because it's like a patch thing and news, I wanted people to know that like something's coming. But I don't want to like highlight it and popularize it, or you know what I mean? So it stinks. It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I mean, but it needs to be said because I think it'll be interesting. And it's crazy to me when people like that are cheating are streaming, and then you're watching their stream and you're like, this guy's 100% cheating.
Yeah, you know what I noticed though is that a lot of times for some reason, you know, I think what they'll do is someone has radar, and then that person won't include their audio because I won't like accuse anybody, but I've watched some things where I'm like, someone on their team is obviously leading them because no one else is saying let's go here, but they're going there. And why is that person's audio randomly not included in this? And they're every time they go somewhere, they're coming across a team, know exactly where they are. I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. It's definitely there's definitely some shadiness going on.
Yeah. It is what it is. I think that's a good like just end on that topic. You know, they're trying to fix it, and hopefully for console it actually works. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
there's still going to be strike pack users, but for some reason I mind that less. Because you can still kill someone, like they still need to aim a little bit. There's no auto aim feature on console that I know of. So if you have a reduction in recoil, that's cheap. You don't do that. But I'd rather neither, but I don't want to get killed by people that knew where I was. And like that just bums me out more, you know?
Yeah, it definitely does. I get it. If you're using auto like something that helps you reduce recoil, you're just a turd. But when you're really, when you're literally downloading programs to like check my location out and all that stuff, it stinks. It's lame. Yeah, dude. You get a life.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So let's move on from that. Let's quickly talk about the just the PUBG update. Like I won't spend too much time on this. I know we're like getting close to an hour here. So the new update, like the big changes are we have a new C4 in the game. It's coming to the game. This is insane. The C4. I have a full video, 20-minute video going over all the patch notes in detail. But what you need to know about the C4 is that it's like the sticky bomb. The C4 now will spawn on every map but Karakin, which has the sticky bomb. But the difference here is that this thing like will literally do damage through walls. It won't blow up buildings, but if you put it on the wall of a building, it will kill whoever's pretty much in the building if it's small enough, which is crazy and completely game changing. The damage radius is 25 meters and the lethal radius is 15 meters. So if it's a small building and you don't get out in time,
Whoa.
you're dead. And it's a 16-second timer, but it goes pretty fast. It feels pretty quick.
It's a pretty big radius. That's a lot. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I had some videos that I'll definitely have to clip together from today's stream where
we get like that car and you took damage from like mad far.
Yes, I was Andy PubG Andy put a C4 down on the vehicle in the garage. He stood across the street. I stood on the street, and I felt like I was pretty far away, and I took half damage, and I was a considerable distance away in game, and so the explosion is huge.
Yeah, it's a little wild.
But they're really hard to find. We played games without finding one, and then one game we found 3, but we played so many games without finding one. So it's definitely it's definitely going to be harder to find. Not like flare level, but it's definitely rare. And we were talking about. I mean, you could talk probably endlessly about this, but there's some hilarious things you could do, like stick this C4 on a vehicle and then try to ghost ride the vehicle into a team or a compound or something like that. So there's going to be some funny things. And then there's going to be some really intense, like sweaty plays you could do. Like if you're in the final circle and there's a team in a building and you throw a C4 on the team, like on the wall, they have 16 seconds to get out of that building or they're going to die. So imagine.
And then there's no detonator, right? It's just timer.
No detonator, 16-second timer. And you can't shoot it to blow it up either.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So I think it's, what's crazy too is, those times when we go to a compound, you think someone's there, you loot for like 5 minutes, you're holding down the compound, and then someone opens up the bathroom door and they die. If you have a C4, you could technically, if you have suspicion of a building, you could throw it in the middle of the building and hope that 15 meters covers like a really good portion of the building, and you could take somebody out that way. So that's pretty incredible. It's a pretty cool anti-camp tool.
That is pretty crazy. I think it's a cool ad. Definitely different.
Yeah, I think it's cool, and I can't wait to see. People are going to do crazy things. Like I want to put a C4 in a glider and then jump out of the glider like over the water and have the glider like fly into somebody or something. I don't know. There's probably some crazy things you could do, and like there's going to be some awesome clips online. That's for sure. So we got the C4. The grenade has a slight audio change now. There's a new Vikendi train line that goes up and down through the map on Vikendi. Cool. Yeah, so they added a new train line on there. The cars now don't blow up immediately. They actually have a 5-second delay now once they hit 0 HP, which again is still pretty fast. People are bummed about this because you might lose the enjoyment of when you get that the whole car explodes. You get the last shot on a car and you get the squad wipe. Yeah. So that might go away a little bit, but really they only have 5 seconds to pull over and get out. So it could still happen a lot, especially if the car's like speeding really fast. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in game.
Bridge blocks will change. That stinks.
Yeah, if it gets hit with a C4 or a red zone, it still insta blows up. But if it's being shot at, it actually has the delay. So yeah, who knows? I'm in the middle about it. We got to see how it plays out. Because that is fun, but when you're on the receiving end of that, it sucks. When you're doing it, it's amazing. When it happens to you, it sucks.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah,
and then there's a bunch of other small changes. The follow parachute feature is back in, and a few other things. If you want all the information, you can check out the PUBG update video I made on YouTube.
Watch the video.
Yeah, and then again, because we're over an hour, lastly, we got the PS5 reveal is tomorrow. So if you guys are interested, you could check it out.
I think it's 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it's no, I don't remember. I think it's I want to say it's 1 p.m. Pacific time.
PS5 reveal. Let's see. I just Googled it. Start date and time. So it's tomorrow at this PlayStation tweet is saying 1 p.m. Pacific. So that's 4 p.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. And then that's 9 p.m. BST, which is UK time. So 1 p.m. Pacific. That's
that makes sense.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
All right, that makes sense. I think it'd be interesting. They've been like very quiet about the thing. They just had that like long interview about like the SSD, which was like ridiculous.
I missed that, but I saw there was like some controversy about that, but I missed the whole.
It's really good. Like the SSD will be like, it's definitely changing, the like world changing, but at the same time, it's like, the Xbox One X is like, graphically.
But doesn't the Xbox One have a special SSD as well? I'm confused.
is made so the Xbox One X I think can do like 3 to 5 gigabytes per second, and I think the PS5 is like 5 to 7 or something.
Oh wow, wow. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is though, like I was reading a lot about it, and like people are like, this is changing, revolutionary. But the issue is also like you still need like high processing, and like like you still need teraflops to really render graphics. Like loading is one thing, but I mean, they're both important, right? Like think about PUBG without your SSD, it takes forever to load. But take out your GPU, and replace it with a small GPU, you're not rendering in the content doesn't render in as nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. It's all kind of part of the whole system. Yeah.
It's like Xbox One X compared to an Xbox One.
I get that now. Yeah, it makes sense. I see what you're saying.
And then you compare the hard drives. But I mean, in reality, like, I don't know. I'm interested to see what it looks like tomorrow. They have been very quiet. I know a lot of PS4, PlayStation players like I work with, and they're like, kind of like, what the hell are they doing? So
because they've been so quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, like, people worry, like, I think a lot of it's when I discuss this with people, they're like, oh, are they just like doing this because of they're waiting to see what Xbox does or whatever. So who knows what they're doing? Hopefully, maybe they'll announce the price of it tomorrow. That'd be pretty interesting. But
yeah, I'm interested because I really haven't been following it, and they've been quiet, and because of that, I haven't been following it. So I want to see like the information they got. It's cool.
Yeah, Microsoft is like trickling out information and stuff like that. It seems so. It's different.
Yeah, they have been, but now it seems like they're waiting now for PS5, and there seems to be a stalemate for who's going to announce price first. I forget if we talked about that on the podcast, but
I think it does seem like that's what they're doing. They're both waiting. Who's going to pull the trigger first?
Yeah. Xbox was like going full send with all the information, and now they've like hit the brakes, which I think is smart. I think that was a good idea. They got all the hype out early, and then they're like hopefully going to undercut. Hopefully, I say this as an Xbox fan, but not that I'm a hater of PlayStation. They undercut the price, and but I am biased. I would get a PlayStation, but I'm just admitting I'm biased to the controller and Xbox, even though I'm mad at Xbox for Elite controllers. But it's a whole other story.
PlayStation controller?
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I just can't. I don't like
it. Well, the new PlayStation controller looks weird, but it looks more like an Xbox controller, and I would definitely be interested in maybe getting it for maybe some other purposes, like other games, or I don't know. But I say that now, but I'm just gonna end up playing PUBG and not playing.
I know that the like Scuff sells a controller, or was it Scuff? They make like a controller that has like a similar layout. Like it's a PlayStation controller, but they move the joystick to like where the D-pad is.
Oh, okay. I think I might have seen that once before.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, well, just really took the thunder. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I think everything's moving the way of cross console, except for like, there's just gonna be those like mostly single player games that are going to be exclusives, which I think really determine what people go where, but to be honest with you, dude, like I never thought this, but that game Sea of Thieves, which is an Xbox game, and I think Windows you can play it on, dude, like honestly, bro, like the amount of people watching that game on Twitch, sometimes I'm like really stunned. That game's been out for years and people play the shit out of it.
Yeah, I think Summit 1G got really into Sea of Thieves. So I wonder if he like help prop the game up a little bit. I don't know.
Still, like if you go on Twitch right now, it's still up there. There's just as many viewers as PUBG for Sea of Thieves, and I would never have thought that.
Wow. Yeah, interesting.
Way more too. So it's just like what, I'm like what.
Yeah. Right now, there's 13.8 thousand viewers. Summit 1G's not playing that. And PUBG right now, okay, PUBG has 16,000 viewers. Let's go PUBG, almost 17.
I think, honestly, I've been looking at PUBG day over day around the same time when I first get up in the morning. And PUBG was down, like, only in the like 20,000 viewers first thing in the morning. But it's slowly creeping up to like, again.
That's good.
I was like at like 40,000 this morning, I think. So, I mean, it's also because like the new patch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good. I mean, obviously, like I think it's moving the right way with that. But we'll see. Hopefully, that maintains.
Yeah. And we used to do this every episode. But I think we forgot to do it last time. Let's just look at what's the most popular things on Twitch, and I might say Valorant maybe for another time. I could maybe briefly talk about it, but I don't want to go too long. But we got in the lead right now is Just Chatting, which keeps being in the lead, which is crazy. It's taken over video games, being in the top spot now.
I should get that up.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I get Just Chatting, but it's crazy how it's become like, I don't know what's going on there. It's always in the top now. And then Grand Theft Auto is in second. Crazy that Grand Theft Auto is there. And remember, people, this game launched on Xbox 360. Let's go. That's nuts to think about that. Fortnite is third. League of Legends is fourth. Warzone is fifth. Counter-Strike is sixth. So this is crazy.
Clubhouse Games.
So yeah, Clubhouse Games is there. Valorant is low. World of Warcraft is kind of low right now. Escape from Tarkov. And then PubG is like, shoot. I mean, it's 16,000. So it's, it's a couple tiers down there. But, usually the top 10 shuffle, but it's interesting to see Grand Theft Auto in the lead, and crazy to see that Valorant has kind of dipped already pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that PUBG is above. Oh no, Apex is there. Damn it.
Yeah, Apex is above
Apex
PUBG.
is always around 40,000 to be honest with you, but yeah, Valorant really dipped pretty hard. I don't know if it's because it was in beta before, and now it's not. I don't know. I read a lot of stuff saying like Valorant would replace CS, but I just don't think it's the same. It's like they try.
No. It's hard for me because I haven't played a ton of Counter-Strike and I never played Overwatch, but I know because it's got the abilities and stuff, it's like Counter-Strike with abilities. I did play a little bit of Counter-Strike, so I can kind of comment on it, but I've only played 2 games, so I guess I can just make it quick. That, it's tactical in the fact that like you're playing round-based shooter. You start off with a pistol, and then if you do well, or even each round you get a little bit of money. If you do well, you get more money, and then you buy like a submachine gun. If you die, you lose what you have, and then say if you save up money, you can buy like the best AR or the best heavy machine gun. And it's round based. You have a bomb or a spike, whatever thing that you plant, but if you kill everybody, you win the round. And so you're just fighting. It's like almost like search and destroy, just over and over and over again. Yeah. And it's really weird because it looks cartoony. It looks like Overwatch, but the movement is actually really slow. And while there's not a lot of recoil control, you can't just run and shoot. You actually kind of have to stop. It's the weirdest thing, dude. Like you have to basically stop moving to shoot accurately. And then if you get shot at, you like can't move at all. So like you feel like you're playing this cartoony game where you want to like run and gun the entire time, but you actually kind of have to like stay still and shoot, but it makes it more tactical and less cartoony. But then you also have these weird abilities that are going off that make it cartoony. So it's this weird like in between. But since it's made by Riot Games, who made League of Legends, like they are just legends, and no pun intended or kind of intended, in making games. So like it's so crisp and plays so well and all that stuff. But like I get why maybe like it's not like in its own niche. Like it might not be cartoony enough for like Overwatch players. It might not be too realistic enough for like Counter-Strike players. It's kind of like in between. And this is me saying literally, I am like literally only played twice and I have no knowledge of it. I'm just speaking from like my initial impression. So don't take this as like, I know what I'm talking about here, but it's just my initial impression of the game. But I kind of liked it. Like I got kills. I was able to get kills. It kind of was like, I understand where PUBG's coming from. Like if I played Valorant and got no kills, I'd probably be like, I don't know if I want to go back, but I was able to get kills as a new player. And like it kind of was feeding that like, okay, I want to play, I want to get better, I want to learn the characters. You need something. You need the carrot on the stick to get better, in my opinion. You can't just get like rocked every game and then expect to keep playing it.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I think for a while when I started playing PUBG, that was happening, and I was like getting frustrated. I almost probably,
Totally, 100%, man. No doubt. And if it wasn't for you guys, I would have stopped. Like we helped each other get through it, playing squads and having fun together. But if you're new, you might not have a squad. There's a lot that goes into it, for sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's like, it's mostly it though. The squad games. If I had to play it solo, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. No doubt, man. Well, I think that pretty much covers it, dude. Anything else you want to go over?
No, that's it. I think we went for a long time.
Yeah, we did, man.
We had a lot than we thought.
Yeah, we kind of probably could have split this into like 2 episodes, but I think it's better to just we run a roll, just get it done, chat about it, and get kind of what we were thinking out on the table. Because there's a lot going on with PUBG and gaming space, and it's just fun to chat about it. So hopefully, if you guys made it this far, you guys enjoyed the podcast. It is just me and Andrew kind of shooting the shit about video games. We try to keep it somewhat topic oriented, but we're just trying to have fun and talk about gaming. It's a good way for me and Andrew to keep in touch with everything that's going on too. So always a good time, buddy.
Yeah, no, definitely a good time, and I think it was fun to get it together.
Yeah,
get going again.
Yeah, for sure, man. As always, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us in the final circle.
Yes, sir. And we'll see you for next episode. And if you guys want to catch me streaming, I'm going to be either on Twitch, twitch.tv/blitz5 and friends, or potentially on YouTube, youtube.com/blitz5. And then you can find us on social media. You can find me, Blitz5, and Andrew is at Cypher5AD on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
Let's go. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha, man. All right, everybody.